If you love white burgundy and you are not drinking Caricante, you are missing out. This is the 2020 Aeris Caricante coming from the motherland of Caricante, Sicily in Italy. We love Caricante in the white wine world. And this was actually a grape that I was introduced to way too late in my wine career because I am obsessed with white burgundy. Rich, textured white wines that have great flintiness and minerality, and this wine really, really fits the bill. Woo! All right, you guys, the grape here is Caricante, the region is Etna, and this is an Etna Bianco, so a white wine coming from the Etna region. This is all things volcano white wine goodness, and as I pour it in the glass, you're gonna see she's got a little bit of color to her already. This is the 2020, so it's 4 years old. This really lovely sort of pale golden apple color. I mean, come on, ma'am. You guys, when I tell you this is a dead ringer for white burgundy, but in Italy, I'm telling you, this, if you haven't had it, your mind's gonna be blown right now. Let's talk about this producer. This is actually a California producer, one of my favorite California producers, Reese. These guys are located in the Santa Cruz Mountain AVA, and they do incredible things there with Pinot Noir, Chardonnay, and Syrah. But they recently started working with vineyards over in Italy, in the Etna region, and specifically with Caricante, as well as a few other red varietals. They are making them there, but they're also making some of those varietals back in California. So if you're curious to see how they can play in different areas, they do have those available. But the one we are tasting today, this is 100% Caricante coming from Italy. This is coming from the motherland of the region. And this is actually an Etna Bianco Superiore, which means it must legally be 80% Caricante. So as we look at this wine, you can see already this is a beautifully colored wine. It's not taken on too much of those golden hues yet. It's still only 4 years old. But as you stick your nose in the glass, I mean, the first thing that you should smell are those like flinty, minerally, volcanic soils. I mean, it's just oozing with those great sort of images more so than smells. I don't even know if that makes sense, but if you're smelling rocks and you're thinking volcanoes, you're in the right place. This does not lead with fruit. There is fruit there, don't worry. But it's not the first thing that we think of when we smell this wine. When I stick my nose in this glass, I get all of these other sort of savory elements. There is some waxiness, there is some sort of light beeswax quality, not in the way that you expect from like a Chenin Blanc or Viognier, but something that definitely feels uniquely Italian. I love Italian white wines. I think they offer so much complexity, so much savoriness, but they also give you something that feels altogether sun-kissed, and that is what's happening right here in this glass. And then as you taste this wine, you get all of those things on the palate, but then you also get this like really zesty Meyer lemon richness that just kind of drags out through the center and just sends you down the speedway. I cannot get enough of this wine. I think it's so spectacular and so interesting. That's the thing with these wines. They always offer something really unique that you don't find in other places. I could go on forever and ever, but here's what I want to tell you. Number one, I probably have this wine a little bit too cold right now. This is a wine that does not want to be served icy cold. I just pulled this out of the fridge, which was probably a mistake, and poured it right into my glass. I want to get this wine closer to about cellar temperature at about 55 degrees. So the way that we do that, we yank it out of the fridge about 15 to 20 minutes before you're going to serve it. That's going to allow some of the textures that are a little bit muted right now to kind of come on board and allow you to feel the richness of this wine. The intensity of the acidity, the brightness that's on this wine is not going to go anywhere. It's just going to be bolstered by what's happening texturally. The other thing that I want to mention is that this wine is absolutely delicious on its own, but it will absolutely soar with a little bit of food. So get yourself some nice hard cheese, some Parmigiano Reggiano, some like the one with like the little crunchy, crystally things going on in there. Get yourself some cheese to snack on with this wine, because I think what you're going to find is that it just starts to come alive. Even in this glass, as I'm tasting it, as it's opening, I'm starting to feel even more lift, even more zest, even more brightness of this wine. It's so unbelievably interesting, and I just feel like more people need to be on board with these wines, but at the same time, I'm kind of okay keeping them a little bit of a secret because these wines are so well priced. You cannot get them everywhere. It's something that I love about them, and when I see them on wine lists out in the wild, especially if I'm at an Italian restaurant and we're gonna be starting with salads or seafood or something like that, this is what I'm always gravitating towards. So if you're someone that loves white wines with lots of complexity, something really interesting, a la white Burgundy, Carrie Conte is definitely something you should try, and this is a fantastic producer to do it with.